Maharaj, mic is muted, Maharaj.
Somebody is controlling this thing. I'm not able to unmute it. So only now it happened. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 32. Ado nirvartatamesha nirbandhastava nishpalaha yatishyati bhavan kale sreyasam samupastite. Translation and purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function. Purport. Generally, a thoroughly trained person takes to spiritual perfection at the end of life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, life is divided into 4 stages. In the beginning, one becomes a brahmachari, a student who studies Vedic knowledge under the authoritative guidance of a spiritual master. He then becomes a householder and executes household duties according to the Vedic process. Then the householder becomes a vanaprastha, and gradually, when he is mature, he renounces household life and vanaprastha life also and takes to sannyasa, completely devoting himself to devotional service. Generally, people think that childhood is meant for enjoying life by engaging oneself in sports and play. Youth is meant for enjoying the company of young girls. And when one becomes old at the time of death, then he may try to execute devotional service or a mystic yoga process. But this conclusion is not for devotees who are actually serious. The great sage Narada is instructing Dhruva Maharaj just to test him. Actually, the direct order is that from any point of life, one should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of the spiritual master to test the disciple to see how seriously he desires to execute devotional service. Then he may be initiated. Yasya yaddaiva vihidam satena sukha dukhayoho atmanam toshayandehi tamasah paravricchati. One should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the Supreme Will. A person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily. Purport. Material existence consists of pious and impious fruitive activities. As long as one is engaged in any kind of activity other than devotion service, it will result in the happiness and distress of this material world. When we enjoy life in so-called material happiness, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our pious activities. And when we are put into suffering, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our impious activities. Instead of being attached to the circumstantial happiness and distress resulting from pious or impious activities, if we want to get out of the clutches of this science, then whatever position we are put in by the will of the Lord, we should accept. Thus, if we simply surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we shall get out of the clutches of this material existence. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Good morning. A nice Sunday morning. Very wonderfully quiet, thanks to the lockdown. Not the regular hustle and bustle that you see on a Sunday. And it's a great time for devotees to utilize this for reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and reflecting on it. So I think it is especially Krishna's mercy. Welcome. Hare Krishna. We are reading here Dhruva Maharaj's wonderful pastime, continuing from yesterday. And we are seeing how Narada Muni is advising Dhruva Maharaj, you just go home. You're a small boy. And these type of things are meant for adults. You go home and enjoy your regular life, go and have sports, play around with your kids, and generally live a normal life. Why are you doing something abnormal? Like expecting to be spiritually oriented, like doing something religiously, very seriously. All these things are not meant for youngsters. Youngsters are meant to enjoy. So, Dhruva Maharaj obviously did not agree with that. Added to that, he is also saying that whatever Krishna puts you in, just accept it. These two instructions Narada Muni is giving, both are very relevant. But amazingly, you will see Dhruva Maharaj may accept some of the instructions, but did not accept some of them. Although it is coming from a very senior devotee. And Prabhupada explains that he recognized that I am being tested. Or he may not even have recognized I am being tested. He's just being himself. Boldly being himself. Because he's a very young boy, 5 years old. When Narada Muni told him that, no, you go home, you just to be a normal person, he did not agree. In other words, Prabhupada would say that he passed the test of seriousness and determination. So sometimes instructions from our elders, our Guru, our senior Vaishnavas would come in that way also. The easiest way to deal with you is in the normal way, the moral and ethical way, the religious way, the material way, and say, no, it's okay, don't worry, it's like this, it's like that. Normally, people will agree to that. Oh, thank you very much for the consolation you gave me. Thank you very much for the solace you gave me. It was comforting, and you sort of agreed with me also. In my mind, I was also thinking that should I do this Ghora Tapasya? Should I actually listen to my mother and take up this thing? After all, what does my mother know? She's not like a sage or a rishi or a guru in that sense. But I was waiting that should I do this? And here you are providing me very good alternative. So I'll take that. That is easy. But here, that alternative was not accepted. And therefore he passed the test. Giving yourself a comfortable position and rationalizing that very nicely inside your head. And reconfirming it and bouncing it off somebody else who does so for you may completely pull the wool over your eyes, like the saying goes. But what will happen is you will just be a person who is prioritizing his comfort, his peaceful situation over the effort and the endeavor required and the enthusiasm required and the eagerness required to achieve love of Krishna. Love of Krishna, like Prabhupada said, is available. If it is available, Rupa Goswami said one should eagerly, immediately purchase it. You should not think it to be an ordinary thing. To think that love of God should be treated ordinarily is a big mistake. So when you're given pure devotion, if you opt for anything less, it is unfortunate, actually. So there is good, better, best. Narada Muni is actually going to give Dhruva Maharaj the best, though he has come to ask for good. And within that good also, he's trying to say, it's okay, don't worry, go back. But Dhruva Maharaj is determined to achieve the good. But Narada Muni is determined, if this fellow passes the test, let him get the best. And true enough, Dhruva Maharaj passed the test. And he did not get good alone. He got something better and he got the best. He got the good, ruling his father's kingdom, sitting on the throne, which he wanted. 36,000 years he ruled. Then he got the better one. He got Dhruva Loka, much better than even Brahma, his grandfather, which he wanted. Then he got the best. He got Vaikuntha. He got Krishna's association forever. So this is the plan. If you don't compromise and shoot for the rhinoceros, like Prabhupada said, no, I don't want to get waylaid by demigod worship. I don't want to get waylaid by Brahman realization and happiness of the self. I don't want this. I want pure devotional service to the Lord. Right? If you stand like that, that is the best. But at least if you show determination in whatever you want also. Actually, Narada Muni is testing, okay, you want the crown, you want the kingdom, you want the throne. Let me see if you really want it. And he tested and saw, no, this person is very determined. He does what he thinks. Then why not give him the best? And he will go for it. Once he knows it is the best, he will go for it. Is that sort of a person. And therefore the best was given to him. So the quality of determination, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, is in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Here, Dhruva Maharaj's determination is in the mode of passion first. Then it becomes goodness. When he saw the Lord, it becomes in the mode of goodness. He said, no, I made a mistake. I should have desired you. I should have desired you. But it was determination, all right. Okay? So this is a good quality, to have determination. If you don't have determination for anything, sometimes people are like so unenthused, and then we have to push them and prod them and enthuse them with all sorts of material benefits. If you give material benefits, you get immediately enthused and determined. In Krishna consciousness, people become morose initially because there's no sense gratification, or certain type of sense gratification that we are allowed, dumping, dancing, and going on a pilgrimage, and eating good prasadam, having good association. After some time, the mind desires something more in terms of sense gratification. And when you don't get it, you become morose, sad. People don't tell you, but they're being harassed for material gratification. And when that happens, when you propose to them, Why not you just relax and do this? Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking. They will fall for it. So we should be very careful that we don't descend to a lower level of operation. And Maya is always providing these alternatives. It may come even through devotees. It may come even through Narada Muni to you. So it will come through the best of devotees to you. It's okay. It's all right. Go ahead. So don't think very comfortably, yeah, it's okay, it's all right, and adjust. Like Chanakya Pandit said, never be satisfied with your japa. Your mind is telling you, you did your best. What can you do? Your mind cannot focus. And even Arjuna said that in the Bhagavad Gita. Chanchalehi Manakrishna Pramati Balabhadritam. And that fellow also has got the problem. This fellow has also got the problem. And look at that guy sleeping during the chanting japa. And look at him, trying desperately to keep awake. Everybody has got that problem. So if you have the problem, it's perfectly all right. Stick with the problem. See what you can do best. That's enough. This is dangerous. That's why Chanakya Pandit said, never be satisfied with your japa. Never be satisfied with your devotion service. Always try to keep pushing yourself up. That tendency is very positive and very wonderful in Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was told when he wanted to sail across and go to America, Sumati Maharaj told, oh, you're an old man, you'll go and die. On the way itself, you'll die. It's not an easy journey. It's not for you to go to America and all that. You're an old man. You're a Bengali old man. You're a traditional. Why don't you stay here and do your preaching? Prabhupada did not agree. He said, no, I have to go. I must go. He didn't settle for the second best or the third best. He did not go there like many of the others were telling him. You should go there means you should be willing to wear ordinary dress. You should be willing to eat with fork and spoon. You should be sometimes willing to eat other types of things also. Otherwise, people will not accept you at all. He just said, no, they will accept me for completely different reason. These things I'm not going to change. They continue to be a traditional sadhu in the center of New York. And people got attracted to him. He gave them the essence of spiritual life. He gave them chanting of the holy name, prasadam, very good association. They loved it. They loved Prabhupada so much because of his wonderful way of merging, melting with them, plus at the same time changing them very slowly. And they loved it because Prabhupada gave them a lot of elbow space. He was not critical, rigid. He knew how to present Krishna consciousness in that position. And they liked it because he was fully confident that everybody will get attracted by Krishna. Everybody will be attracted to the supreme absolute truth. He had this conviction. So he didn't compromise. He didn't compromise. Similarly, you will see a Dhruva Maharaj. He was a boy with the mission, I would say, in life, and he wanted to achieve it. How many of us can get that type of a determination? Come what may, I know it is possible. I know it is possible. I will achieve it. Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. Krishna also tells Arjuna, don't doubt me, asamshayaha, na samshayaha. Many people in the past have done this the way I'm talking about it, and they've achieved it. You do the same way too, and you'll achieve it. So Krishna is giving a lot of encouragement to Arjuna to do it and not doubt it. But here Dhruva Maharaj, he was having no doubt about whether he will achieve it or not. He said, why don't you just teach me how to do it rather than trying to tell me go back home? I'm not going to go back home. I'm here to try it. I've come all the way and I'm going to do it. Give it a try. Why don't you rather teach me what should I do in order to see Krishna? That's what impressed Narada Muni. He said, okay, he's out to do it. He's out to learn. He's willing to give anything that is required for him to learn. This is determination. If you look into the life of many of these professional people, Many of the sportsmen, many of these artists, many of the singers, many of these musicians, they do that. Even for material stuff. They are focused, they train themselves, they control their mind, they just tivrena, bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. In the material world, you will see examples of this, which is told in the Bhagavatam. Tivrena, tivrena bhakti yogena. Right? With a focus, boom, executed. This is what Dhruva Maharaj. This is some important quality we can learn from Dhruva Maharaj. He did not fall for the trap set by Narada Muni. He said, no, thank you. I am going to give it a try. And I don't think that I need to listen to you. I won't take that choice. Similarly, Narasimhadev also tested Prahalad in a very different level. Tell me what boon you want, what can I give you? And he thought that Prahalad will say, put my father back into this thing, give him this thing, that, do this. Nothing. He said, don't try to tempt me. I know you're trying to test me. I don't want that. Jai Jagannath Baladev Patramanki. All I want is that I will always remain absorbed. He asked for the opposite. That nobody should be able to tempt me like this. I should not fall a trap to that. You should always keep me absorbed. Never should I forget your lotus feet. That's what I want from you. As soon as he proposed this way, Narasimhadev, he asked for a boon that will take care of such type of proposals coming from people, whoever it may be, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that I should never lose. That was the intelligence of Prahlad Maharaj. That was the intelligence of Prahlad Maharaj. So, if you are focused on getting the Supreme Personality of God, its shelter, love of God, then all your activities get aligned to that one goal. You don't see anything else. You know, the famous American President Franklin Roosevelt, his wife, is known to have said that obstacles are those apparitions and illusions that come in front of a person who has lost sight of the goal. Oh, this is too much, because of this reason, I'm not able to do that, which is the most important thing in my life. That is, they are willing to subject the most important goal, the most attractive, the most vital, the most precious goal of their life to some ordinary, small event and happening, and give the handle to that event and happening and so-called obstacle to control your achievement of the supreme goal. In other words, subjecting your goal to a temporary instance. Immediately people do that. These are all tricks of the mind, lame excuse. People give themselves a lame excuse and they find excuses. They're looking for excuses. Where will I get one good excuse so that I don't have to take the serious responsibility? If you scale that down further, you will see even in ordinary life, people do that. Even for material responsibilities, people do that. They're looking for a chance of how to just be sitting down and vegetating and giving themselves 101 excuses on how I will not do this, I will not do that. It's because of him and blame that and blame the weather and blame the crow sitting on the rooftop. Blame anybody and everybody. So that I can rationalize it in my head and then therefore I did not do it. Therefore I'm not responsible. So responsibility, accountability, determination, achievement, they all go hand in hand with a person who's focused. He takes responsibility. Yeah, I made the mistake. I should now change gear and do it like this. I'm not leaving it. Let's go. Boom, goes again. He will not leave it until he's achieved it, because he's determined. Many of them otherwise very easily give it up because of some failure, because of some problem, because of some obstacle. They become weakened mentally so much that they can't take it up. They can't take it up. So compare that if you don't want it, if you're not eager to get it, if you don't want to give what is required to get it, why should you get it? You won't get it. So easy to understand. If you're not willing to pay the price of eagerness, which Rupa Goswami says is the only price. Tatra mulyam laulyam. The real mulyam means the value of that which you have to pay is your enthusiastic eagerness to get it. Are you excited? Are you enthused to get association of Krishna? To get a chance to do devotional service to Krishna? How much are you connected? To that level, you'll be enthused. And if you're not, that's the greatest misfortune. Utsaha, Nischaya, Dhairya, Tattat Karma Pravartanat, mentioned very nicely by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. It starts with Utsaha, Nischaya, Dhairya. Enthusiasm to be associated with Krishna, enthusiasm to be rendering devotional service. These are great things which nobody has got a chance to do in the entire population. Everybody has got a chance to go to the hospital and get an oxygen mask and get infected maybe. But nobody will ever get a chance so easily to render pure devotional service. It's because of the presence of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada on this planet. It's because of the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's because of the mercy of all the previous acharyas. It is never before done like that. Chirad adattam nijagupta vittam. It has never been dattam. Chirad adattam. Never before given like this. Highly fortunate you must be. And it is doable, approachable. Why is it that we are not enthused? Why is it we are not enthused? So, our whole understanding from this beautiful event of Dhruva Maharaj making a decision, no, I know what I want. It's very wonderful to me. He's able to clearly say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going ahead with this. No indecisiveness, because I know. So Prabhupada was a person who had no indecisiveness in anything. He knew what to do. He knew what he wanted. When a reporter asked him, he said, I want to change the whole world from the way they think. He gave these amazing answers. And he was a nobody at that time. He was a nobody at that time. And he was very sure these things can be done. And I am the one who is going to lead it. And in the future, many people will come and do it. I'm just laying the foundation for that. It's going to happen. Lord Chaitanya has said so. The Shastra says so. My Guru Maharaj said so. In the Parampara, everybody will said so, saying so. So it's going to happen. Yet, no doubt about it. Prithivite ache jata nagaradigram sarvatra prachar hoibe morana. It will happen because the Lord Chaitanya has said so. And all we need to do is to jump into the bandwagon and do what is required. Contribute. You may not be the person contributing fully. You may not be able to see the results of your contribution. That doesn't matter. Prabhupada started a movement. Many things he could not complete, but he just set it rolling and said, this is how you should do it. And it'll happen like this. It'll be wonderful. But I'm not going to be there to see it. But you will all be able to see it, take part in it, let it roll. Take part in Lord Chaitanya's movement and do your thing. Become a cog in the wheel in that big machinery somewhere and play a role. Maybe you will not be able to see the whole mission. Maybe you will not be living to see the fruit of that thing. Doesn't matter. We are not one person managing the whole movement. And even Prabhupada didn't think so. He did so many wonderful activities and started them and said, go ahead and do it. You will get the mercy of the Lord. Take credit for it and do it. And you will contribute, right? So in this way, Prabhupada also, he knew the long-term contribution of Krishna consciousness for human society. He labored very hard and did maximum that he could do. He took the full opportunity. Very much like Dhruva Maharaj, took the full opportunity to use everything material and use everybody in the service of the Lord and start off this movement and establish it. Right? There may be some shortcomings here, there also, because he could not attend to everything. But those are things that we need to do, the details. But it's so difficult to, make a movement move like this and come to taking it off with this inertia and setting it afloat and putting it in orbit. After that, many things can happen. So we are doing the easier portion of it. And everything is given like halwa to us. Open your mouth, chant Hare Krishna. Open your mouth, here is prasadam for you. Can you distribute this book? Can you speak to this person about Krishna consciousness? It's a nice thing to do. It's a great thing to do. It's really not much. And if we don't keep up our enthusiasm, there is nothing more that Krishna can give you. There is nothing more merciful that Lord Chaitanya can give you. This is it. This is it. So we must know for sure. And we must take advantage of this amazing movement and this offer and be enthusiastic to serve Krishna. Right? Don't allow your mind to diminish the value of this process, diminish the value of this particular activity of devotional service. Keep going. There may be a little up and downs. The material world is full of them. But don't give up. Right? Like Dhruva Maharaj, I can learn from Dhruva Maharaj this incident that if I am not focused, and if I don't want it for myself, who else is going to want it? Nobody is going to want for you. You have to want it for yourself. By doing devotional service, you're the one who's benefiting. So you must desire at least that basic level of activity. You must do, at least desire it sincerely. I desire sincerely to please Krishna by this devotional service. That's the minimum you can desire. That's the minimum you can desire, right? So these are lessons for us in enthusiasm, in eagerness, in proactive execution of devotional service. Out of our own volition, exercising our individuality and performing, right? That is an individuality issue. Nobody can get into your shoes and do it. Even Krishna will not do it. But if you desire, if you have difficulties, if you have problems which are very common, Krishna will be there to help you. But the foundational requirement is you and your enthusiasm, your eagerness, your willingness to do it. Let's examine very closely whether we have that willingness. When we don't have that basic foundational willingness, it's very difficult to artificially push yourself for too long. And that foundational willingness becomes weaker and weaker if we become more and more involved in sense gratification. The determination dies and becomes eroded when you're involved in sense gratification. This is the measurement. You will lose, you'll become morose, and you will also not have enthusiasm much. Then you'll weaken yourself, then you'll find excuses, you'll blame, you'll criticize, and slowly find your own niche based on your own reason, right? So this is a case in point, Dhruva Maharaja's case, that even a young boy, 5 years old, even though he desired for something material, he approached Krishna, and because of the mercy of Narada Muni, he got the best. Good, better, best. Never let it rest unless the good becomes better and the better becomes best. I was told this right in my younger days. Always, Prabhupada said, aim for the best. Don't go for just religion and ordinary stuff that's good. Don't go for Brahman realization, which may be better. Go for the best devotional service, pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That's the offer, and we should shoot for that. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. If anybody has got any question, please Feel free to ask. The time is 9 o'clock. Sundara Murari Das, question: is it mandatory to follow the Varnashrama duties, or can we focus on Bhakti more and skip some of the duties rather than spending time in these duties? Can we spend more time for devotion service? Please clarify. This is too general a question, Sundara Murari ji. This differs from place to place, time to time, person to person, according to the situations. And my first comment is, anyway, we are not following Varnashrama fully. Varnashrama is very deep. It's full, a lot of things in that. And when you say Varnashrama, you mean your basic material duties. One is to look after our own self. And the next is to look after those people who are dependent on us. And the next is to do certain duties that you're meant to be doing as a grihastha. Then the next is to have duties towards society and everything. All these things are very important. But for a person who has absorbed himself in Krishna consciousness, and then he may not have time naturally because of his absorption. And that to some extent can be excused. In the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna is telling Uddhava that you should not give up these duties. And these duties are helping you to learn and progress and surrender and detach yourself. Until you have achieved pure devotional service, you should not abandon these duties. So scaling it down to Kali Yuga, to this time, date and place, we should not also artificially give up. We should become serious enough to accept some other responsibility. That's why I tell devotees who want to join full time, be willing to take headache for Krishna consciousness movement. Don't escape grihastha life. Don't escape material duties. Come here and also not do any other responsibility and duty. Then Maya will catch you from inside. It's nobody in this world can be without duties at any point of time. Either you take a headache and a duty for Krishna consciousness, or you take a headache and duty of maintaining a family of devotees, cater to them. There are challenges, and do the needful. So there is no situation which you are trying to say where you won't have any duties and you'll be peacefully executing devotional service. Even devotional service execution in the material world is not very peaceful. Anxiety is definitely there. But it is anxiety for Krishna, anxiety for Prabhupada's movement and things like that. So please don't think I need to not take a headache, not take a responsibility. You need to take responsibility for Krishna. If you're absorbed in Krishna consciousness, your family duty really doesn't mean anything to you. It's also a responsibility for Krishna. So I see no difference as being this thing separated from it. I hope that helps you, Sundara Murari ji. Yeah. Next is Krishna Baladeva Dasa. Maharaj, how far Prabhupada desired to have Goshala and cow protection? How far Prabhupada desired to have Goshala? That's a difficult thing for me to calculate. How far? Well, Prabhupada definitely had. Throughout his writings, you can say he's repeatedly saying it, that protect cows, do this and everything. So I don't know how to answer how far. As much as is required in the situation, circumstances that we are in. If you can definitely do it and you're able to manage it, it is welcome. It's good. It's also auspicious materially. And in many ways, it is very nice for us to protect cows. They are very dear to Krishna and it pleases Krishna. So as much as possible, we should try to do it. Okay. Tangaraj K. Is Dhruva Maharaj was devotee from past birth? I don't know his past birth details. I may have to look into it. But it looks like he was not, because the Shastra tells us that he was like one of those persons who, for material reasons, approached the Lord. He may have been a devotee, but not like a fully blossomed, pure devotee yet. So that's why maybe he's getting a chance to render service to the Lord under the instruction of Narada Muni. But I really do not know his past. How to understand Maharaj? Lord Brahma did penance for 1,000 of demigod years. Then he got darshan, but here within 6 months. Yes. There was a mercy of the Lord. It was the mercy of Narada Muni. It was also the determination of Dhruva Maharaj. Not to decry or minimize Brahma's this thing, because I don't know anything about those details. They are very, 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 very amazingly huge personalities. In my minuscule, small way, I cannot judge much from this thing. But all we can see here is that the situations are different. And there is a purpose in Brahma meditating for so long. The Lord had a purpose because creation was going to occur through him. And he had a massive responsibility. Right? So that is a different situation. It cannot be really compared. Here, Dhruva Maharaj, all he is asking is, I want to see God. That's all. He's not asking for anything else. But Brahma meditated first. He went to find out who is, what's happening. Then he was told, he got darshan and he was given information, everything. Then again he performed austerities for getting ready for creation. And then he created, then he had problems and difficulties. Again he went to the Lord. So the purpose of Brahma's meditation and his execution of creation duties, secondary creation duties, and all that tie up together in a different way. But Dhruva Maharaj's situation is different. He came for a different purpose. And by the mercy of his Guru and by his determination, the Lord showered his mercy by giving him darshan. Because of that, many other things happened. Anybody who goes to the Lord for any material benefit normally does not go empty-handed, even devotionally and materially. Because if you please the Lord, definitely he'll bestow bhakti on you. Okay, Chaitanya Das. Sometimes one may feel small because of the shortcomings in terms of knowledge and practice of Krishna consciousness up to perfection. How can one gain enthusiasm with whatever situation one may be in? Kindly enlighten. Well, it's nice and healthy to feel small because of me not doing devotional service up to the perfection, not being pure. It's a good, healthy sign. In fact, all the times it should be like that. It's not only sometimes. All the times you should feel humble. That's the wonderful pre-qualification for getting Krishna's mercy. When Rupa and Sanatana approached Lord Chaitanya, they were really feeling like that. They were materially very well placed people. High-class ministers in the Nawab Hussain Shah's government, very well educated from a Brahmin household, and they know Persian, they know Arabic, they knew Sanskrit, they knew Shastras, they knew Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they had tons of money with them. Everything was good for them in the material world. But they came to the Lord and met him in Ramkeli when the Lord appeared there. And they were crawling on the floor with a piece of grass, straw on the mouth. And then they were saying, we are worse than the worm in the stool. We are worse than Jagai and Madai. They were feeling everything that they were saying. They were not artificially saying it. Right? Kim Bruve Purushottama. What can I tell you, my dear Lord? My activities, my sinful activities, this thing, even I am ashamed of talking it. Lajjame. I am ashamed. They gave some amazing, submission and surrender to Lord Chaitanya and begged for his mercy very humbly. They felt throughout that we are very low, we are low class, we are like this, we are like that. Purishta, Kita, stool, vermin stool. And they were feeling like that. So Lord Chaitanya actually could understand that these people are actually feeling it. So he immediately initiated them. Aji hoike dunharanam rupa sanatana jainya chadha tumi tumare dainya fate moramana. Today onwards your name is Rupa and Sanatan. Please give up this humility. Your humility is breaking my heart. What a situation. Right? So if you're feeling humble about that, it's a good sign. It's rarely do people feel like that. And it will be healthy for spiritual life. We should never think that we are perfected. We should never think that we have done it. There is always amazing amount of things to do to perfect ourselves in Krishna consciousness. So it's nice that you feel that way. Paramesh, you mentioned towards the end about enthusiasm reduces with regard to sense enjoyment. Could you please explain that once again? Well, if you engage in sense gratification from the gross to the subtle to the very subtle, it eats out of the vitality of your bhakti. It's very subtle. So the more you are involved in sense gratification, the more difficult it will be to crystallize bhakti and progress in bhakti. That's simple thing. You can yourself feel it. After some time we become sensitive to our own consciousness going up and down. We're able to gauge it. We're able to pulse and feel it. So you will see that when sense gratification is involved, of any level, any way, mental, intellectual, even spiritual, I would say that if you want to merge into the Supreme Lord and all that, it will detract out of your bhakti program. So we have to be always using all our energy to absorb ourselves in Krishna consciousness. It is no doubt a challenge. It's no doubt a challenge. What I'm telling you is something very subtle. You need to experience it and you will be able to make it out. Right, Sudha Paramesh. Jai Shri Sudhakar. How do we get to understand how far we can extend ourselves in offering our services to Krishna? Are we doing too little? Are we biting more than we can chew? Well, for a sadhaka, it is very easy to see. We are sadhana siddhas. Our so-called position and feeling of little positivity in Krishna consciousness is because of our sadhana. When we fall off from our regular activities of attending Mangala Arati, chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, eating Prasadam, worshipping the Lord, then we can see we can get disturbed. So we know that we are sadhana siddha. Right? Our sadhana, if it goes off, we can go off. So it's better we prioritize that first. And then see which is the next priority. Attend to my family members and all that. Do your sadhana nicely, number one. Keep your health very good. Prabhupada said that's also very important. And then do your sadhana very well. Then do devotional service. Definitely devotional service is required because in devotional service we interact with other devotees and we get association. Many times we do devotional service because we can be in the field of devotees and their operations and we can get association and all that. It's very powerful. So without devotional service also we feel morose. So we should learn to juggle this very nicely. It's a little difficult, especially in family life. And if you are also in ISKCON and leadership positions and you have responsibilities, it becomes a little difficult. So we need to, know when to take the route in such a way. It's like, the example is given of a horse, a chariot, a horse on the pathway. The driver will keep the horse always straight, but slowly it'll divert itself a little bit like that. Then he'll whack it one and then he'll come like this, and then he'll whack it again like this, like this, like this. So if you look at the actual route, it'll be like this if you trace. But average, you're going straight. That's what is reality. The reality is that sometimes we take off too much services than we can chew. Bite out on it. Oh, then you understand and you come back. And sometimes you do too less and you get into different, then you come back and then like that. After some time, you can perfect that type of a thing. But mostly people struggle with doing this, that, like that. And it's an average. So it's not that these things will never occur, they will occur, but overall, you've got an average straight path. So you should be careful. Not too much, not too less. Okay? I hope that helps. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nittai